Hello, I'm Shanu Sharif from Explorer Brothers. In this video, I'm going to talk about the most important thing is shutter speed. I will try to explain it in a very simplest possible language. Now, most of the photographers face trouble dealing with shutter speed. Most of the time, I'm having a lot of complaint that, so many people taking photographs, but those photographs are blurry. It's because of shutter speed. I have checked all of them. Now, the thing is that shutter speed control the brightness and darkness of your photography as well, and also it has a dramatic effect on your photography. The shutter speed concept is very simple. Now think of it this way, that if a door is open for 1 minute, in 1 minute 2 or 3 people can enter in a room. If your door is open for 30 seconds, like 1 people can enter in a room. Now this is the same principle applied to your photography as well. Like the door of light opens for longer period of time, more light get entered to your camera sensor. If the door stays for shorter period of time, few light or small amount of light enter to the sensor of your camera. And these things is very important is because shutter speed is also applied to freeze a moving subject, to control the brightness of your photography. In long exposure photography, most of the photographers use longer period of time to blur out light of sunset, to blur out the sky or cloud, and many things photographers use in using shutter speed or manipulating shutter speed. And also people freezes a moving car using a faster shutter speed, like 1/4000 second or 1/2000 second. So this is the way you can also freeze a droplet of water falling. In this image on the screen, when you use a long shutter speed, the sensor stays open for a long time, which creates an effect called motion blur. The moving subject in your photo will appear blurred if the shutter speed is long. This effect is widely used in those photos where speed is presented to the viewer by intentionally blurring the moving subject. For example, a moving car, a moving bike, or anything moving. Now, how you measure shutter speed? The shutter speed measured in a fraction of a second. For example, if the shutter speed is 1/4, that means is quarter of a second. If the shutter speed is 1/250, it means it's 1/250th of a second. Now there are cameras like DSLR or mirrorless camera can handle 30 to 1/4000 seconds, and some camera can handle 1/8000 of second. Now also there is another mode called bulb mode. You can also use bulb mode to manipulate your shutter speed in your long exposed photography. Now shutter speed also control your exposure. Shutter speed creates a significant effect on your exposure. For example, if you use a longer shutter speed, then your camera will take a lot of light in your camera for a longer period of time. So your image will be brighter. And in shorter shutter speed, your image will be darker because your camera will take a small amount of time to get the light inside your camera sensor. So your image will be darker. Setting the shutter speed is very important. Most cameras handle the shutter speed automatically by default. When the camera is set to auto mode, the shutter speed is selected by the camera without your input. However, you can still set the shutter speed manually if necessary. So 2 options will be best for you. Number 1, by setting the camera to shutter priority mode, you can choose the shutter speed and the camera will automatically select the aperture. Number 2, by setting your camera to manual mode, you can choose both aperture, ISO, or shutter speed, or whatever you want. Now, where to find the shutter speed settings in your camera? It is typically very easy to find on most of the cameras that have a top panel or shutter speed is typically located at the top left corner or in the settings screen. If your camera doesn't have a top LCD like some other entry-level DSLR, you can look through the viewfinder where you will see the shutter speed on the bottom left side. And if the camera has neither a top LCD nor a viewfinder like many other mirrorless camera, you can see the shutter speed simply by looking through the back screen. On the most camera, the shutter speed will not show up directly as a fraction of a second. It will typically be a regular number. If you still cannot find the shutter speed, set your camera to aperture priority mode and make sure that you have turned off auto ISO. Then start pointing around your camera from dark to bright area. The number that changes will be the shutter speed. So this is all about shutter speed I have talked about. I think it will reflect in your photography. And hope you enjoy this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.